Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an SU-14-2. It's a Tier 8 Soviet SPG, otherwise known as the school bus, and is located on the south spawn of El Halluf encounter, and it's under the command of 99 Destroyer. And according to the flag against his name, he's an Aussie. Okay, 41.25 second reload. This means he's got the B4 howitzer, which is a 203mm. Yep, there we go. And 1050 alpha, penetrating 52mm of armor, and it's got a burst radius of 10.9 meters. But it does have a rather long reload. He's not using premium consumables. He could, and he could use a rammer, and that would greatly increase his fire rate. Okay, he's now aiming for the confrontation point in the northwest corner. And the first customer's arrived. Unfortunately, he can't get shots on them, but he might be able to get a shot on that Centurion 7-1 because he's parked a bit wide there. Now, if you get the SU-14-1, which of course you have to get in order to get this Arty, he hit the castle walls there, then you've pre-researched the 203mm B4 howitzer, because it's actually the top gun on the SU-14-1, the Tier 7 Soviet SPG. Now basically the SU-14-2 and the SU-14-1 both derived from the same Arty, the SU-14, which was also derived from a Soviet heavy tank, which was a bit of a failure in its own right, but there still exists one. He's fired at the Centurion and 380 hit points. Landed right next door to him, didn't actually hit him. Still a useful amount of hit points. Now what happened was that the guy who actually designed the SU-14 was actually purged by Stalin, and the Arty that he actually built were put in mothballs. They didn't actually continue producing them, and so they were actually in storage before the Second World War broke out. And after it did break out, they of course looked to put these Artys back into service. Okay, he's loaded, he's just trying to pick his targets, going for the Emil, and fires the round in. Centurion's going to take the hit. Oh, lovely one. He actually struck 3 tanks there. The Star 1 took a small hit there for only 2 hit points, but he did get stunned, and, well, he's picked up all the stun assists from that. The Emil took a nasty hit for 258, and the Centurion lost 150, so 1 shot, 3 tanks. If only that had been a bombardier, that would have been a real great strike. Okay, his reload is almost complete. I think that Centurion and the Emil are about to suffer another strike. Almost ready to go. Oh, he's bunched them all together. Oh, brilliant one! 4 tanks hit this time, and most of them were stunned. And it really helped the team because they did some huge damage to those guys. Unfortunately, our Emil 2's about to get shells shot into his ass. Yeah, unfortunately, he went too deep, and now he's sort of like can't get out of that position. But he's got a wreck to cover his ass if he wants. I think he's just reloaded and killed the Centurion. And we're about to go again with another round. He fires it in, and, well, only the Emil 1 this time gets the hit. But they're getting stunned, which means that he's picking up loads of stun assists. He's got 1.7k of that already. He's been focusing on these guys here because it's difficult to hit the ones around the corner. But there is an Object 263, I think, actually on the corner, which somebody else is indicating that he ought to go after, because that guy is just sitting there on the corner and he's actually poking around the corner to shoot our guys in the asses. He's going for this corner instead. lining up the Super Pershing, but he actually fires at the Conqueror Wasn't fully dialed in, but it still hits the target. 332. Now there is a lurver coming up the valleys, going after a Nuda 16 for the moment. Don't think he needs to worry about that one, not just yet. The Udas is actually leading that lurver around, and that's actually good because he's drawing him away from us. Destroyer 99's looking for an easy hit on that lurver, and if he can stun that lurver, he might be able to get some extra credits. Yeah, oh yeah, 462 hit the engine deck as well, but the guy cured his stun straight away, so he's not going to get any stun assist there. And the enemy is now bunched up again on that corner, and he's marking the Emil 2 as his next target. I'd go for that T26E4. The Super Pershing's actually, he's looking to get at those guys, and the Pershing and the Progetto and the Mutz are a bit vulnerable. And the Progetto's been killed. He's trying to go for multiple targets at the same time. Goes for the Emil, and well, it's a good hit on the Emil. 330. The Pershing is taken down. He actually stunned the Udes as well at the same time. We're only one tank down on the enemy at the moment, and that lurver is still chasing after the Udes 16. Well, going back to the story about the SU-14-1, when the or SU-14 rather, when the Second World War started for proper, when the Soviet Union got involved after Operation Barbarossa, they were looking for Artys to actually defend the Soviet capital, and the Arty are actually in storage at Kubinka, which is a region in the Soviet capital. Sadly, I never actually went to visit Kubinka when I was there. I would have gone to the tank museum if I'd known. I did see Victory Park though while I was there, actually in Moscow, and well, it's quite an interesting place because there's loads of tanks on display there. Kubinka, of course, is the home of the Russian Tank Museum, and they've got loads of tanks there that, well, you don't often see in the West and won't appear in many of the tank museums. Oh, nice shot gone in, but oh wow! He actually took out the Udes 16 without damaging any of his teammates. I think he may have stunned one or two, but excellent shot there. Absolutely excellent. I'm not sure if he stunned anyone, but we'll have to look that back when we do the replay. Going after the Conqueror now. Well, it's 4 versus 3 now. There's still that lurver though down in the valley, and he managed to get rid of the Udes. So it might be that 99 Destroyer is going to have to move, because that lurver could be headed up this way. He was last seen down in grid square G7. But he might not be there anymore. Okay, that's perfectly dialed in. The Conqueror's dead. That means the lurver and the enemy Arty are the only two left alive on the enemy team. And the enemy Arty's a GW Tiger P, which is not the most mobile of Artys. Well, getting back to the story of the SU-14, well, they put them into service, and they actually fired them from Kubinka, and oh my god, the lurver's here, and he's there, he's taking a big risk here, but he can shotgun. Oh yes! Shotgun for the win. Unfortunately, the enemy Arty would have seen him. So he's... Oh! That's payback. That's like him saying, well, you shoot my heavy, I'll shoot you. And there's the GW Tiger. He's been found, and that's retribution by the Standard B. What a great game. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Well, it was an Ace Tanker for 99 Destroyer in the SU-14-2. He actually managed to get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in that game. He managed to get 17, and he got a Confederate medal as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else, and that's despite the fact that he actually took out 2 tanks on the enemy team himself, the Lerva and the UDES-16, and for taking more tanks out, which was subsequently destroyed by other teammates. That's the key phrase to get the Confederate. You have to take out at least 6, and it has to be the highest number that were taken out by others. Let's have a look at team score. Didn't get the highest damage. No, unfortunately not. That actually went to the Object 257, who kept poking around that corner. He was the one who was actually poking around the corner. 4,417 hit points of damage to him, but he was killed in the end. The next high scorer was our Emil 2, who was very bravely trying to hold that corner, doing a lot of damage and shooting the tanks that 99 Destroyer was stunning and damaging. He got 4,127 hit points out of that game, but he was killed as well. And then it was 99 Destroyer with 3,229 hit points. When it came to kills, it was actually the Prototypo Standard B. With that last kill, he bumped his score up to 5, which was 1/3 of the enemy team. And his user is one of the user names, so I think he's one renamed user, or probably not, he's just calling himself user anyway. He got 5 kills. 3 kills goes to the Emil 2, the Object 257 and the Super Pershing, and only 2 kills, I'm afraid, to 99 Destroyer, but I think that contributed to him getting his Confederate. And when it came to base XP, he's top of the table. 1,285 base experience points, 1,217 to the Emil 2, and 1,132 goes to the Standard B. He fired 11 shots in that game, got 5 direct hits, 0 penetration, but 17 splashes. Yes, he was hitting multiple tanks with each shot. 3,229 hit points, of which 3,224 were at more than 300 meters. The difference, the 5 hit point difference, was actually the Lerva. In fact, he could have nudged into the Lerva to kill him, but if he had tried to do that, the Lerva would have finished him. So taking that shot was the right decision. 1 hit received. Yeah, it was a hit by way of splash damage. That was from the GW Tiger P, who decided he was going to get his own back and take out his enemy Arty, or his counterpart, for taking out the Lerva. 9 enemy vehicles damaged, 2 killed, and 2,674 hit points of stun assist of 14 stuns. So 11 shots, 14 stuns. Lots of stuns. On a premium count, he earned 42,052 credits, and after repair and ammunition resupply and consumables, he actually took away 28,174 credits. He received 1,285 XP, times 2 for the first victory, took away 3,856 experience points altogether. So, to finish that story about the SU-14 Arty, well, the Soviets actually upgraded it. Firstly, of course, the SU-14-1 was one modification of the Arty, and then they decided to actually put an enclosed cabin around it, so that's when it became the SU-14-2, and of course they gave it a radio station as well. And there is some picture of, or some film of these Artys actually on manoeuvres in woods, and of course they are very big things, very big and lumbering, so not the sort of Arty that they would have mass produced. I think it was just but it's probably a product of the tank it actually came from, which wasn't a very good tank. But lots of the other Soviet Artys are actually quite good by comparison, and I'm afraid all 3 of the top tier Soviet Artys are in fact imaginary. Well, all 2 of the, I should say, top tier Artys are imaginary. The Object 261 and the 212A weren't actually put into production. The SU-14-2 obviously was a derived version of the SU-14, which doesn't appear in the tech tree at all, but the SU-14-1 does and the SU-14-2 does, and so they did exist. In fact, I'm afraid there are a lot of imaginary Artys in the game, because of course they didn't produce a huge number, and of course most of the Artys that were mass produced are now in the collector's tab on World of Tanks, simply because Wargaming's decided they want to try and get people to play Arty at a higher level, but all that's going to do is it's going to encourage a lot of people not to play Arty at all, because they'll jump into a tier 5 Arty and they'll find it very difficult to play, because it's not like any other vehicle they've ever played before. But there you go. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, and thank you for watching.